Israel is once again in the spotlight over its contentious judicial reforms. A key Supreme Court hearing over the judicial overhaul has begun. For the first time in history, the whole 15-judge Supreme Court bench is hearing an appeal against the judicial amendment which was passed in July. The court will decide whether the decision of the government to do away with the reasonableness clause is constitutionally valid. Ahead of the hearing, thousands of protesters took to the streets. The reform package has triggered a nationwide uproar. Protests have been ongoing for months now.
Because today it's the beginning of a process in which the Supreme Court of Justice in Israel is really under immediate danger from this corrupt government, and we need to stop it right now.
The overhaul, led by Netanyahu's government, has plunged the country into the worst political crisis Israel has seen in years. The reforms have drawn months of criticism over concerns that they hurt the independence of the court, weaken democracy, and encourage corruption. Opposition leaders have accused Netanyahu of trying to use the proposed legal overhaul to quash possible judgments against him. The Israeli Prime Minister is currently on trial for corruption charges, which he denies. The Netanyahu camp has maintained that the overhaul is needed to ensure that the court does not exceed its powers. Critics say that the reasonableness clause of the judicial bill states that the courts cannot hear cases or issue orders against elected officials on the basis of that doctrine. Now, for more on this, our correspondent Jody Cohen sends us this report from Jerusalem.
I'm outside the Supreme Court, where you can see protesters both for and against the government. They've been interestingly chanting the same things, chanting that the people are sovereign and that they're here to save democracy. Now, the government says that the Supreme Court has no authority even to hold these hearings today. And they say that's because the reasonableness law was passed as an amendment to a basic law which has quasi-constitutional status, and the Supreme Court are not allowed to rule on basic law amendments. The Supreme Court President Esther Hayut, on the other hand, says that if a constitutional amendment challenges the democratic character of a country, then the Supreme Court has the authority to intervene even on basic laws. And commentators are suggesting that this could lead to a constitutional crisis. Meanwhile, the hearings are expected to last hours. A decision is not expected to take place today, perhaps not even in the weeks or months to come. We know that Esther Hayut is retiring on the 16th of October, and that date has been flagged as a potential one to watch, but anything could happen. It could come sooner. This is Jody Cohen for WION World as One.
WION, now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the news on the move.